Good afternoon. This is Maria Quattrone with Be the Solution, and I am so happy to have my guest today, Laurie Reader. Laurie, how are you?
I am doing awesome. Super excited to get to be a part of your Be the Solution. I'm all about solutions, so thank you for even considering me and having me on your show.
Yes, you are. You are the solution, and I love it. And I can't believe that it is October 28th, 2020. Here we are 7 months or so into our new reality.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? It's absolutely, to me, it's mind-boggling that it feels like an hour ago. It was like March 12th, March 13th, and we were talking about this. And just as it relates to real estate, Maria, so if it's okay with you, I'd love to talk about, where we've come and where we're heading and what that's looking like.
Let's do it.
Okay, awesome. So many real estate agents, I really want them to see, investors, buyers, sellers, real estate agents, all of us, as you said, we're all in real estate on some level.
We are.
Right.
Everybody owns a home or.
Yes.
Oh, well, not everybody, but.
And I think there's a lot of challenges right now. I still think there's a lot of sadness from what we're dealing with. We all try to put on our happy face and our smiley face, and the world is struggling. And reality is something that I really learned even after 23 years of being in real estate was that word essential actually means something. Real estate being essential. And when this first struck, I remember what you dealt with. And you don't even know this, but you were really somebody I kept my eye really close on early on from the COVID-19 pandemic, because nothing was stopping you. You truly were non-essential, right? You guys were non-essential. And I thought, how do you survive? How do you help the buyers and sellers? How do agents continue to move forward? And every week you were just showing up, talking about how you would pivot and how you would make sure you were still there for the customers and agents. And I thought, my gosh, she's non-essential. If she's non-essential and we're essential here in South Florida, I better get it together. And, after a brief moment, I take leadership really seriously, Maria. I know that's something you take seriously. And I think leaders have to step out, and we have to be perfectly fine with failing, especially in the eyes of everybody else. It sounds weird, but I remind my team every morning, what did you fail at today? I mean, all your success is great, but tell me what's not working. So from the very beginning, I thought to myself, after about 2 weeks of being hit with the pandemic, like, how are we going to lead? And how are we going to make sure that all the people that are counting on us for homes, shelter, right? Whether they had to buy, they had to sell, they had to rent, people were still moving. And it was really just all about how we were going to pivot and how we were not only going to just survive this situation, but how we were going to thrive and be leaders in the industry so that people could see that not only could this be done, it would be done at a very high level. Does that kind of resonate with you, with everything we were going through?
Yeah, we didn't have a choice, right? We had I guess you always have a choice, but our choice was to step up and to continue to be better and figure it out and not let anything hold you back. I mean, it's so easy to sit there and say, oh, woe is me. It's so bad. Life's terrible. But we made a decision.
Yeah.
You made a decision. So what did you decide to do? What happened?
So, and this is something that I hope all real estate agents that watch your awesome show and your podcast and everything, I hope they really listen to these tools and use them over and over and over again. And that is that, so change is inevitable. When things are going great, we can always expect that, something may happen that we don't want to happen. And when things are going really bad, we can also expect something great is going to happen. Nothing will stay the same. And in a leadership role and running a real estate company and running a team and making sure that our real estate agents are also moving forward, it's about pivoting. It's about every day assessing what's going on and moving, pivot, continually moving and putting a new system in place and testing that, putting a new, just different things in place. Our conversation changed with our consumers. Our conversations changed on how we were going to sell your home and how we were going to find you a home. Because just because COVID landed in our country, it did not change the fact that human beings need a place to live, and that before COVID and after COVID, people were buying, selling, renting, investing, and none of that was going to go on hold because it just could not. So it's really about looking at what you're doing. So let me just take one step back. We run our company and we say that the consumer is the North Star. So we have very clear goals. We know exactly what needs to happen. Everyone's in a lane. And when you know that what your North Star is, for us, it's the consumer. We knew we had to make changes to support.
I love that. Consumer is a North Star.
Yes. You got to have a target. If you're playing football, your target is to get from one end of the field to the goalpost, right? And,
yes.
And if you don't score, you don't win. So our North Star is that consumer. And the consumer was still, and not only do we have consumers that still needed to do real estate transactions, but now they couldn't leave their homes. They were scared. There was fear. There was so much going on. So it was really about every single day we made changes to support making sure the consumer could still buy, they could still sell, they could still close on properties, etc. And honestly, over the last 7 or 8 months, it has evolved. The first 30 days, we did it one way. The second 30 days, we did it another way. And now all those systems are refined and they are in place. But the difference being is that I think a lot of people decided, listen, I'm just going to take a step back and I'm going to wait for all of this to correct. And I'm just going to, kind of crawl into a hole. And I get it. Some people, the fear really overtook you. And that's why it is critical. This is when leaders showed up, Maria, more than ever, right? I have said for a long time, and you are one of those lady leaders, look at the people in your life, whether it's personal or business, when things are their worst. Check your village at its worst, right? Everybody's going to show up when things are great, but check the village, check your circle of trust. If you watch the Fockers, right? Your circle of trust. And I found that my organization I took about like a 5-day pity party for myself. And then I said, okay, hold on. Okay, they're all watching leaders. They are going to do what you do. So I believe that with all the terrible challenges with COVID, the loss, the sadness, and let me tell you, I have had personal loss and I have seen people suffer. We have got to focus on that silver lining. It really caused all of us, nobody could hide behind a curtain anymore, Maria. You want to talk about transparency about the people who are in your world. They're watching every single move you make. So when things are really tough, check your village, make sure you're with the right people. And every single day, identify what your North Star is and why you're doing what you're doing. And if you're not serving the North Star, then change it. So a lot of people wait a really long time to make a change, but you've got to be able to pivot fast, make changes so that you can accomplish what the other people need.
Well, that's the hardest thing. If you make making the change, but if you don't make the change, you made a decision. You still made a decision.
Yeah, I mean, you do. You make a decision. You can decide to show up or you can decide not to show up.
Exactly. I think that, there's so much opportunity still, and there's so many different things that we can do in order to facilitate, not just real estate, but being out in the community and helping the community, because folks need our help right now. There's whole industries that are dissolving into ashes.
Yes.
Theater.
And that is one of the most key points. And to me, I go back to that village, right? Is the people that are around you. So for real estate agents in particular, I promise you, your communities are watching, right? What are we doing? How are we giving back? What is that looking like? We started day one, what we call care calls, right? So our lead generation, we doubled down on lead generation, but those were care calls. Those were calls of reaching out to people to find out how they were, how we could help them. Did they just need to hear another voice on the end of the phone?
Yes.
I can tell you my own mom,
Yes.
my own mother, who was in real estate 40 years, she was the agent. She's still running the world, but she's out of real estate. And she would tell you that she just got on the phone and she just started calling people who were also senior citizens who may have not had anyone to talk to. And, just by doing that, I don't know, I know I got into this business to help people. Selfishly, I've made a living at it and a career and a business, but I got in this to serve others. And those care calls and diving in and helping other people, you see under my name, I wrote Stronger Together. And the minute this happened, I knew the community needed us, the real estate community, the consumer community. It didn't matter. We actually took 50 billboards, 50 bus benches, all of our marketing, and we shifted it to Stronger Together. We're one community.
I love that. That's your new.
Well, it was necessary because, again, I like to go back to leadership, and leadership is only as good as the actions you take behind leadership. We can call ourselves a leader. I don't just say, oh, I'm a leader. Like I'm checking my actions every day. What am I doing? Like, I don't need the title. I want to make a change. And I think the opportunities in real estate today are 100 times more than they were in 2018 to 2019.
Why?
I say that 2021 will be one of the best years that people will see in real estate, because agents in particular, as I mentioned before, you cannot hide behind a curtain. This is pure transparency. We are using virtual listing appointments, in-person listing appointments, virtual buyer appointments, in-person buyer appointments, because the consumer, back to the North Star, they have just about all the information that they need. But when you hire a professional, you, me, and others who choose to do the work, we are priceless. And they want to work with professionals. The consumer, the North Star, they want a professional in their court. They want fierce negotiators. They want people who will do the research for them. Somebody who can be that market expert. And as our industry, it could shrink, the industry may shrink, but the opportunities will be exponential for those that are doing the work.
It's always been about those doing the work, but it's been easier work than it has been lately.
And it is not easy. And I would love to offer to your community of especially real estate agents. And this is an exercise we do on my team and that I've been doing for the last 10 years since I started to build a team. And that is, every morning I ask myself the very same question. And that is, why do people want to be in my world? Why do they want to work with me? Why would they work for me? Why do they want to buy a house from me? Why would they sell a house through me? It sounds like an easy question, but when real estate agents can literally answer those questions very precisely, you have to know why people want to work with you or work for you. If you know the answer, they know the answer, and your business grows leaps and bounds. Not a lot of people are going to take the time to do the exercise of first identifying that and being okay to revisit that every day. I revisit the question every day. I do not take for granted one moment why a consumer would want to use our company, or why my admin would want to work for me, or why my agent would want to work for me, or why Maria Quattrone would want to interview me. It's really about constantly being okay with pivoting, learning, and elevating yourself.
Being open and aware, and from the heart.
Being extremely learning based.
And that's it. I think people of curiosity are extremely, they look for opportunities to learn.
You know, in reality, I say all the time that if you're in our industry, there is just limitless opportunity. The opportunity is
Almost too many.
it's so big. The opportunity is so big. But you've got to be willing to do the work. I mean, no, that's the part I don't think a lot of people talk about is doing the work.
So how does somebody figure that out, Laurie? I mean, they're sitting here, they're watching this, it's tomorrow morning and they catch it, and how they're thinking, how do I do it? How do I start? Like, what do I do?
Well, the first thing I'm going to tell you, wherever you are in your career, it's success is over time. It is not overnight. Success over time, not overnight. The first thing I always encourage people to identify is, you know, what is their North Star? What are they trying to accomplish? What's their goal? I don't necessarily say you have to come up with some big why. I don't go too deep on the why I'm doing it. I mean, I'm pretty clear of why I'm doing it. But what do I want to accomplish? So you're a real estate agent and, you know, 2021's coming. We're goal setting right now. So it's a lot of fun. And you've decided that it's just not going to be an option. In 2021, you are going to close 2 transactions a month, regardless. 2 transactions a month. You just don't stop until that is accomplished. And just a couple of action steps you can put behind that. And this can apply to anybody anywhere in the country, especially right now while we're dealing with COVID-19. You know, I don't know about you guys, but we are still doing open houses. We do them very, very carefully. We have a lot of rules behind that. But, you know, especially let's say an agent doesn't have a lot of money. As a younger agent, I never worked in an office. I was in a vacant property. And a vacant property is really safe during COVID as well. And that became my office for the week. If I met 2 people or 3 people or 10 people, it didn't matter. They were going in my database and I was going to nurture them. I was going to be their market expert. I was going to be the one following up with them, making sure that when they were ready to transact or they had someone to refer, Laurie Reader came to mind. So I am also really big, besides open house, Maria, like I do actually love the phone. I love email. I love texting. And by loving the phone, what I mean by that is you have to be willing. I'll never understand this with real estate agents. Well, they say, I don't want to cold call and I don't want to outbound. You know, I just want to wait for the phone to ring. So I want to turn that back around on the agent and say, so if I refer you my cousin who is a lay down sale, are you going to call them? Are you going to nurture them? Are you going to follow up with them? Because how we behave in one lane is it's typically how we're going to behave in the next lane.
I say that all the time, Laurie.
Yeah, I mean, you see people. They're like, oh.
People will debate you. They want to debate me about it. And
yeah.
I said, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Right. So I have this conversation, and I think it's okay not to cold call if that's not your thing, you know. But if you're calling into if you have a database, or you're calling the phone book, I don't care where you're calling. Do they still have phone books? It doesn't matter where you're calling. If you don't have the habit of following up, hey, somebody walks into my open house, we strike a great conversation, but they never hear from me again. You know, my all-time favorite is what I just mentioned. You know, let's say my best friend wants to buy a property, but I don't follow up and I don't call her and I don't send her valuable information. She's going to hire another real estate agent. So if you're in sales and you don't have your scripts down and you're not a person who's willing to pick up the phone and follow up, nurture, call, stay on top of it, I mean, that's not going to work. It just doesn't work.
Well, we are real estate salesperson. Sales is the picking up the phone, talking to people, communicating, because that happens from the beginning, the middle, the end, the after, always communication.
Our job as salespeople is to help the consumer, the North Star, self-discover what's best for them and their family. The only way to do that is with the right questions, the right scripts, and that is how you help another human being achieve their goals. You know, it's not to sound scripty, it's to help you figure it out.
No, I think that's correct. I mean, think about it. You want to buy a car. Do you want the aggressive? I want the most aggressive person following me up. I want to know that they're looking for that Mercedes or Maserati or BMW or whatever it is I want, which changes on a daily basis. But I want them to be super aggressive, because when you're ready to buy, you want to have the belief that that person's going to be able to find you that car, find you that house, find you, whatever it is that you were looking for. And, the longer you're working with them, the less every day, the longer you go on, you start to think, well, will this person actually find me the house?
You bring up a really good point. So here's another something I'd like to share with your audience, and that is, and I think people miss this all the time. Nobody wakes up at 9 o'clock in the morning and out of the blue just says, I think I'll sell my house or buy a house. There's an emotional process that goes behind that, and it takes time. And salespeople need to understand that there's a process to working with a buyer or a seller. And it may be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 step process before your buyer. One, you have got to establish their motivation. This is buyer or seller. You have got to build trust with them. And then you must give them pure transparency into what's about to happen, meaning super, super honest. So I think people are, they meet with the buyer one time, the buyer doesn't pull the trigger and they give up. Or they go on a listing appointment and the seller's not ready to sign paperwork, so they give up. It's not a one-night stand, okay? We've got to first meet for a drink, then we've got to get to know each other, and then maybe we'll have dinner, and then maybe you'll invite me over to your home. There is a process, and this is why I talk about nurture and follow up. The difference between my agents that are extremely successful, some of the most successful in the country, and agents who are struggling because they refuse to do the activities to serve the consumer. And that is the nurturing, the follow up, the helping the consumer self-discover. I've said it 100 times. I'll say it again. Real estate's not complicated, but you've got to do the work. I mean, come on. We're helping people make the biggest investment of their lives. We're helping someone with their biggest investment.
I think it's good to remember that it's also a very emotional time for them, on the buy side especially, and maybe on the sell too, because they're thinking, when is this house going to sell? And every market is different right now. And your market's probably, I hear Florida is doing amazing.
It is. Our market is absolutely on fire, but honestly, you just hit the nail on the head. We've got to have empathy, right? I mean, you really got to go deep into what that person or their family is experiencing and going through. And I'm not hating on people who are very transactional. I'm just sharing what worked for us for 20 years. I mean, this year will close 900 units. On my sphere and repeat and referral for 23 years, there's a reason behind it. We're very caring. There's a lot of empathy. And I'm not just transactional. That's not the path that we chose to go down.
No, I hear that you have a great client group.
We do.
That you put all your clients into, and you do a lot of really fun and cool things for them.
We do. We are a believer that the first part of our opportunity to help the consumer is from the first call, all the way to close. When they close, we now move them into what we call the Forever Client Club. And we are so grateful for their business and that they trusted us, that we are now going to love on them forever. We have a Facebook group where they can interact with each other. Before COVID, we did a lot of events for them. Now we do virtual events for them. And that's another thing. We pivoted our entire Forever Client Club. So we're treating it differently now. We're treating it virtually. We've got lots of, end of year things coming up for our Forever Client Club. We give them gifts every single month. They get a birthday, card from us. They get phone calls from us. Imagine we follow up and nurture on our Forever Client Club. This is how sales.
How you do one thing, this is how you do everything.
The way it is. And I think if anybody got that today, and they can take a hard look at where they're really winning and try to apply that to other lanes, they will see that what you just said is 100% accurate. How you do one thing is typically how you do everything.
I do believe clients need our help today, though, more than ever.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of, let me see, curious, Laurie, if you've seen this in your marketplace, but what we're hearing from the consumers or that they want to move closer to family.
Yes.
They want to have more space to spread out. They want to have dedicated office, bigger yards, less dense. Single family properties are very busy here now. I hear the condo market, though, in your market is still doing very well.
So, trying to get a house in South Florida right now, we can have upwards of 10 to 40 offers on a property. The condo market.
So they definitely need a group like yours who are experts in the marketplace to lead.
You need a fierce negotiator is what you need.
Yeah.
And our condos actually are a great opportunity right now for the 1,100 people moving here a day. 1,100. Condos are struggling. Condos are struggling a little bit, not as much as the single family, because some people, they're elderly or they have pets and they don't want to go up and down an elevator. I myself live I live on Fort Lauderdale Beach in a condo. And initially when COVID started, it was very scary for me. And I relocated to Asheville. I go back and forth now, but yes, our condos are a great opportunity for those that are moving here, if you're comfortable with the condo environment.
Where do you see most of the folks moving from, Laurie?
Wow. Well, let me just tell you, the Northeast has always been our friend. Philadelphia, Boston, New York, Connecticut. And now we're getting a lot of people coming in from Seattle, California, Oregon. 1,100 people moving to the Tri-County area a day. We haven't seen that since maybe 2009, 2010. It's wild. And, it's very tough to get a single family home and you will pay dearly. But then again, you're living in South Florida where the weather it's breathtaking. I don't want to make you jealous, but I'm looking out my window and I can see beautiful blue skies in the ocean and lots of sailboats and all kinds of fun stuff going on out there.
I am jealous.
Well, one day you're going to need to come down here and we're going to have some fun when this.
One day I'm going to be living down there.
Oh, girlfriend.
Maybe I'll come work with you.
I have the perfect building. No, we're not going to work. We're going to the beach.
Well, I'll do that too.
Yes.
I'll do that too.
Yes.
Yeah, I love the energy and I love this. I love seeing all the great things that you do. You run a terrific business.
Thank you.
And a very successful one. And you see an opportunity right now for people coming out of, let's say, the restaurant industry or hospitality, I should say,
Yes.
or the arts to move into a real estate career?
Yes, and that's really our recruiting focus at the moment. That was something we dove into in the first 60 days because we thought to ourselves, what are all of our amazing hospitality people going to be doing while everything is shut down? And we've recruited heavily to that entire arena of people. People who have anything when you have served the consumer and you are passionate about the consumer. Think about it. You go into a restaurant, I'm pretty sure the waiter's North Star is you, the consumer. So yes, we're really big on that. We also recruit heavily from one of my favorite arenas. I just love my school teachers. Our school teachers are awesome, because it's not just service, it's problem solving. So, and I am a believer that a waiter, a school teacher, somebody who's in the hotel industry, anything where you have to problem solve, you're going to crush it in real estate, because what we do is we problem solve. That's our job.
Yes, be the solution.
Be the solution. I love the title of this. Yeah.
So that's how it came, Laurie, because we had a conversation about what we do. And I said, well, you know, we get a lot of hard cases. And people say, what does that mean? I go, well, we're a lot of times a second or third broker.
Same.
When people cannot get sold, they call me. I don't know why. Sometimes I don't get the first call, but I get the second and third. Usually somebody has told somebody about us. And so I said, we solve we solve problems. We solve challenges. And then I sat there and I go, oh my God, we're the solution.
You are
the solution.
Yeah. And I love that. I love that. And anytime somebody says to me, hey, I'm stuck with blank, what should I do with blank? You know that my immediate response is, what do you think would be the best solution? Because most people have the answers, Maria, right? And it's our job to help them self-discover they've got it all inside of them.
I love that. Your self-discovery is what it's all about. You've been coached very well.
Yes, I was a coach for many years. I worked for MAPS coaching, and
you were at MAPS.
I've coached many people across the country within.
You're really good.
And without MAPS. And I don't do that anymore because of time, but I am very passionate about others hitting their goals and growing and growth in their careers. And I just really, it's sport for me. It's fun. When you win, I win.
Yeah. You have a tremendous attitude. It's so positive and uplifting, and you inspire me, and I know you inspire all the people that get to work with you.
It's a choice. It's and some days I have tough days, but I still will ask myself, are you getting on the A train this morning, the train that's going right where you want it to go, or are you getting on the B train and you're going to hit a lot of gravel? And the A train's not always going in the right direction, and I'm okay with that. I'm grateful for failure so that I can get better, because I owe it to the people in my world.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah,
we all do. And if 5% had that attitude, the world would change.
Well, I say everybody does arrive at the finish line on their own time. So maybe if you and I keep putting it out there and we continue to share what's working and what's not working, a lot of people will get on that A train with us.
I think it's important that people do know that, we all wake up in the morning and we do make a choice, because today I wanted to stay in bed. Yeah. This morning.
Gotcha.
I wanted to put the covers over my head because there's lots of different challenges happening, and it's sometimes, fear and overwhelm sit in, and then what happens with that means nothing happens usually.
Right.
But I took a lot of deep breaths. I actually went back to sleep for half an hour, and I regrouped myself, and voila.
So
we're going to make it happen.
Yeah. What you just said, again, this is how leaders behave. You share what's not working, what's working. And I think what you just said to me reminds me of the thing I've said the most since COVID came, and that is, remember to show yourself grace. Remember to show yourself grace. And that's a hard one for a lot of people. It's kind of like you want to live in the gain and not always in the gap. So be kind to yourself. Show yourself grace.
I love that. I love that so much, because I need that.
And I hope that you will, and I pray that you will, because you're an extraordinary woman and you deserve that. And sometimes when you're giving so much to others, you forget to take care of you. So that's why you have to write it in red lipstick on your mirror that says, show yourself grace.
I know. I'm going to use this one right here. This fuchsia one.
Oh, I love that one. Don't waste that one on your mirror.
Yeah, this is a good one. It stays on too.
Oh,
Molten orchid.
Love it.
It's fun. It's fun. Well, I appreciate you, Laurie Reader, and
Thank
I
you.
am so thankful and grateful for the time that you spent with us today on Be the Solution. And I'm excited to see you.
Yes.
I don't know when because of all this, but I hope it's sooner than later. And my husband and I will have to come down to Florida and get some sunshine because, as you can see, you have a glowing tan, and I'm like white already. Tan's gone.
Well,
There's no sun in Philadelphia.
I will help you fix that. And as soon as COVID is over, we will have a little mini ladies mastermind right here on my beach.
I can't wait.
I am just grateful to you. You are just an exceptional woman. And I'll actually see you Sunday night on our Sunday night mastermind.
Yes, you will see me then.
I thank you for having me. Heart to
my pleasure.
Yeah, that's for you, babe. All right, honey.
See you
Take care.
soon. Thank you.
Bye, babe.
Bye-bye.